Meanwhile, let's now shift focus to our election stories. Battleground Nandigram is heating up. Mamata Banerjee will file her nominations from Nandigram on 11th March. The West Bengal Chief Minister will file her nominations on the auspicious day of Shivaratri. It is believed that Mamata has chosen the day to project herself as a devotee of Lord Shiva. Remember, Bengal has been witnessing a fierce war over Hindu deities. Earlier, the TMC had invoked goddess Durga against the BJP's Jai Shri Ram war cry. Sources in TMC have told India Today that Mamata will only contest from one seat and not Bhawanipur constituency. Nandigram is extremely significant for Mamata as she had successfully led a protest against land acquisition by previous left governments in the state in the 2000s. By picking Nandigram, Mamata has decided to go back to grassroots politics. Meanwhile, Bengal BJP chief Dilip Ghosh has said that there is a possibility of Suvendu Adhikari contesting against the chief minister.
एक और सवाल आ रहा है, ममता बनर्जी 11 तारीख को अपना नामांकन भरेंगी नंदीग्राम से। उस दिन महाशिवरात्रि है, तो इस दिन को क्यों चुना गया? क्या ये कुछ खास वजहों से चुना गया है?
नहीं, वो बात नहीं है। ममता जी 11 तारीख चॉइस किया, अपना चॉइस। अब शिवरात्रि का दिन तो बहुत पवित्र दिन है और वो पवित्र दिन में पवित्र बैटल फील्ड में वो उतरेंगे तो सभी पवित्र होगा।
दिलीप जी, ये भी कहा जा रहा है कि ममता बनर्जी नंदीग्राम से चुनाव लड़ेंगी, नॉमिनेशन फाइल कर रही हैं। क्या शुभेंदु जी को वहाँ से उम्मीदवार बनाया जाएगा उनके खिलाफ?
शुभेंदु जी का नहीं बनने का कोई कारण नहीं है, लेकिन जब तक घोषणा नहीं होता है तब तो निश्चित कुछ बोला नहीं जाएगा। ममता बनर्जी कहीं से भी लड़ सकती हैं।
ममता वर्सेस शुभेंदु होने जा रहा है नंदीग्राम में,
संभावना है। अब तो देखिए, टिकट ममता बनर्जी का भी लिस्ट आना चाहिए, हमारे भी लिस्ट आना चाहिए, तब पक्का होगा मामला।
Meanwhile, at India Today, Conclave East, Mamata Banerjee has spoken out for the first time about her plans to contest from Nandigram.
आप इस दफा 2 सीट से चुनाव लड़ेंगे कि 1 सीट से? नंदीग्राम से लड़ना ये फाइनल है आपकी?
पूरा फाइनल। हम जब कुछ कहते हैं वो हमारा फाइनल ही होता है।
और आप, क्योंकि अब हम बहुत सारे काउंटर क्लेम सुन रहे हैं कि नंदीग्राम में क्या होगा। एक कहता है कि हम दीदी को हटा देंगे। अमित शाह ने आज कहा कि दीदी अपनी खुद की सीट नहीं बचा पाएंगी नंदीग्राम।
उसको लड़ने बोलिए ना उधर में। जैसे होम मिनिस्टर का बात करते हैं ना, शोभा नहीं देता। उसको बोलिए इधर में लड़ने के लिए। अगर वो जीत जाएंगे तो उसको हम स्वराष्ट्र मंत्री बना देगा बंगाल का।
আমি নন্দীগ্রামে মমতা বন্দ্যোপাধ্যায়কে হারাবো। আপনারা নিশ্চিত থাকুন, হারাবো আমি। আমাকে দল প্রার্থী করলেও হারাবো সরাসরি, অন্য কাউকে প্রার্থী করলেও আমি পদ্ম ফুল ফুটাবো। দায়িত্বটা আমার।
Meanwhile, as both the BJP and the TMC delay the announcement of their candidate list, it's turning out to be a nail-biting experience. Usually, the major parties in Bengal start announcing candidates much before the nomination process begins, but not this time, as the stakes are high for the Bengal polls.
As temperatures soar in state of war Bengal, there's a very interesting battle of nerves being played out between the ruling Trinamool and the BJP over their respective candidate lists. Who will be the warriors who go head-to-head in the 294 seats up for grabs? Well, not a single name has been announced yet. Emerging as one of the most nail-biting aspects of the Bengal election is the fact that both sides have been delaying the announcements of their respective candidate lists. The names of prospective candidates are also shrouded in secrecy despite the campaign ball rolling at full speed. Usually the major parties in Bengal start announcing candidates much before the nomination process begins. But not this time, with mystery shrouding the high-stakes make-or-break power play. For the BJP, Home Minister Amit Shah and National President JP Nadu have been holding meetings with the Bengal core unit. The state unit has provided 3 to 4 names for each seat. The BJP Central Election Committee is meeting in Delhi on Thursday and Friday to try and finalize names. Obviously, Prime Minister Modi is also taking a special interest, given that he will be leading a huge number of rallies in Bengal starting March the 7th. Unlike in the past, this time the Trinamool plans to announce all 294 names together and not in phases. Sources say the announcement was to be made a few days ago, but has been suddenly put on hold.
Amit Shah, they want to know the profile. For them, most important thing is the professional identities, integrity, honesty. There should not be any corruption background. So these are the issues. Actually, BJP is more serious on that. But TMC, the delay of TMC, the reason is different. Mamata is serious for, winnability.
इस बार तृणमूल इतना डर रहा है जो जिनका नाम प्रार्थी लिस्ट का घोषणा कर देंगे वो बाद में बीजेपी में न चला जाए, इसीलिए अभी प्रार्थी लिस्ट घोषणा करने का वादा करके भी घोषणा करने का निर्णय लेके भी फिर पीछे हट रहा है.
The suspense over the candidate list of both the Trinamool Congress as well as the BJP and of course the other parties here in this Maha battle for West Bengal election has become one of the most tantalizing aspects of this election. While both the rival camps, BJP and Trinamool, are seeking votes on the towering personalities of Mamata Banerjee and Narendra Modi. However, the grassroots workers, those who will fight this battle on the ground, they will be very, very crucial, and therefore there's hardly any room for error on that front.
Mamata Banerjee is said to be waiting for more information on BJP candidates in the important seats, crucially on whether former confidant Shubhendu Adhikari will contest against her in Nandigram. The Trinamool also wants to see if sitting MLAs who are refused tickets get angry and ditch the TMC to join the BJP, and whether the Saffron camp is giving them tickets to contest the elections. In such a scenario, the Trinamool would want to study the extent of damage the turncoats could potentially cause. Bengal's Game of Thrones and tickets now enters its climax phase. Bureau Report, India Today.
Meanwhile, a major controversy has erupted after a TMC MLA, Hamidul Rahman, threatened voters with violence if they do not vote for Mamata. Addressing a public meet in Bengal's Chopra, the TMC MLA said that those who will not vote for Didi will pay the price. He went on to say that those who will betray Mamata will face music once the polls are over. After the threat, the BJP has now moved the poll panel against the Trinamool legislator and sought action. BJP leaders including Kailash Vijaywargiya, Bhupendra Yadav lodged a complaint with the Election Commission against his threatening remarks.
সবারই বাড়িতে ছোঁয়া লেগেছে দিদির, যারা বেইমানি করবে, ইলেকশনের পরে তাদের সঙ্গে দেখা হবে, বেইমানদের সঙ্গে খেলা হবে আমাদের, বেইমানদের সঙ্গে খেলা হবে আমাদের।
Meanwhile, another star-studded entry into Bengal politics ahead of the high-octane poll battle. Bengali singer Aditi Munchie has joined the Trinamool Congress. The star's foray into politics comes days ahead of TMC's candidature list. The singer also sang a song after donning the TMC mantle. Aditi Munchie is the latest Bengali star after Sayantika Banerjee and Kaushani Mukherjee to join the ruling Trinamool Congress.
তোমার হৃদয় ছাড়ে রাখবো ছেড়ে দেব না এই হৃদয় মাঝে রাখবো ছেড়ে দেব না একবার ছেড়ে দিলে সোনার গুণ আর পাবো না।
Meanwhile, in poll season, political sandesh has taken center stage, from party logos to slogans like Jai Shri Ram and Khela Hobe. All have a sweet taste in Bengal.
We are here at a 100-year-old sweet shop which has somewhat found a solution to these bitter speeches. Over here, if you just look, these are political party logos. But what exactly is this phenomenon? These are Sandesh, or the quintessential Bengali chana mishti, or rather which is extremely popular. These sweets have been the talk of the town for the past 48 hours over here in Kolkata. These have all political logos. What is more interesting is that these two sweets, the dark ones, which has written Jai Shri Ram and Khela Hobe in Bangla, These two catchphrases are extremely viral right now over here in West Bengal. And the reason why we are here, or the reason why we can see this, is because of the invention of this particular man with me, named Sudeep Malik. Mr. Malik, I would like to ask you, what drew you to the creation of these politically sweets?
So, see, in every event we do theme sweets based on that theme, like Football World Cup or Cricket World Cup. And in every season also we change the menu. We have mango sweets in the summer and Nolengu sweets in the winter. So the season is that is coming is of vote, and the biggest event in Bengal will be this vote coming, the coming vote. So we made the sweets of that theme.
Usually we have seen, political logo sweets, but this time you have two special ones. One has Khala Hobe written, the other one has Joy Shri Ram written on it. What drew you to it?
This was a trend going on in social media, so we are following every trend.
The message is clear. No matter how bitter or aggressive political campaigns become, the sweetness, the flavor of sweetness from our lives, from the city of Kolkata, should never disappear. With camera person Satyajit Mukherjee, this is Suryagni Roy for India Today, Kolkata.
All right, the latest news break coming in. BJP CEC meet to begin shortly. Amit Shah, Nitin Gadkari, Suvendu Adhikari arrived for the meeting. The party is expected to release their candidate list. It has begun. The first candidate list should be out shortly. On the other hand, viewers, there's also news coming in that the TMC is also going to be meeting tonight. So we should be expecting a list from the TMC as well. All right, so with that news break, I want to quickly shift focus to the other state that we're tracking this election, and that's the state of Tamil Nadu, facing major roadblocks in finalizing seat share deal for the April 6th Tamil Nadu Assembly elections despite 2 rounds of talks. Is the DMK Congress alliance? While Congress is bargaining for 41 seats, DMK is not willing to give in more than 22.
They're all smiles here. But there's trouble brewing in the big Tamil Nadu alliance. With just days to go before Tamil Nadu's state of war begins, the two old allies have hit an angry stalemate over their seat-sharing formula. Here's the crux of the deadlock. The DMK is willing to give the Congress only 22 seats to fight from. A furious Congress has laughed at the offer, saying that in the last election the Congress had fought from 41 seats. Sources say discussions have deteriorated into an ill-tempered impasse.
The seat sharing is always a give and take issue, and there are only 234 seats, so parties have their own expectations, and negotiations are going on, and let's see how it pans out.
Mr. Karthi Chidambaram is not leading the alliance talks. Mr. K.S. Alagiri is leading the alliance talks.
The Congress, meanwhile, has played down the deadlock and said that discussions are still very much on.
It has not yet become stalemate. It is still alive. Okay. And the differences will be sorted out. The ground reality is it is good for the alliance of the DMK and Congress. Maybe that, the differences, if any, may be sorted out.
Unlike the DMK Congress deadlock on seat sharing, discussions between the ruling AIA-DMK and its ally the BJP have been moving smoothly and are expected to seal the deal at any time. So why is DMK boss Stalin so wary of giving the Congress a bigger share? For starters, the DMK clearly wants to minimize the Congress's influence on the final tally, possibly after witnessing its effect on results in Bihar and elsewhere. Secondly, Stalin is clearly skeptical of Rahul Gandhi's political influence, despite once proposing him as Prime Minister. The DMK is clearly asserting itself to a weakened Congress. Stalin may be worried the Congress will drag it down. And finally, the DMK is even more risk-averse after Sasikala's move to unite Amma cadres against the DMK. With high-stakes discussions stretching on without a breakthrough, there's added pressure now after the DMK has sealed seat sharing with the Vidudalai Chirutaigal Katchi, giving them 6 seats. And there are only 2 big questions now.
Will the continuing deadlock between DMK and Congress provide an advantage to AIA-DMK in the run-up for nominations. Also, will it cause a speed bump in DMK's mission to derail AIADMK, which has been in power for nearly a decade now? With camera person Divyan, Pramod Madhav for India Today.
Meanwhile, staying with Tamil Nadu, in a surprising development weeks after her release from a Bengaluru prison, VK Sasikala has announced her retirement from politics. In a letter, Sasikala called on all Amma cadres to defeat DMK and said that she wants AIDMK to rule for the next 100 years in Tamil Nadu.
The Chinnamma saga is over, even before it started. VK Sasikala has bowed out of the intense poll race in Tamil Nadu. In a twist no one saw coming, Chinnamma has said she is stepping aside from politics in the state. And this just weeks before the high-voltage election. Sasikala, in a 2-page letter, said she never aspired for power or position and reiterated the Amma supporters must come together to defeat the common enemy, the DMK. And the AIADMK should rule for another 100 years. Interestingly, she said that she is still instrumental in converting Amma's thoughts into actions. It looks like Sasikala's decision even took her nephew by surprise. TTV Dinakaran is now pushing for a merger, knowing full well that it on his own. TTV is completely politically irrelevant.
அம்மா அவர்கள் மறைவுக்கு பிறகு அம்மாவுடைய ஆட்சியை அமைச்சு கொடுத்தாங்க. அம்மாவுடைய தொண்டர்கள் ஒற்றுமையாக இருக்கணுங்கிறத அவங்க வலியுறுத்தி வந்தாங்க. எல்லோரும் சேர்ந்து இவங்க தான் முதலமைச்சராக இருக்கணும்னு சொல்லி அன்னைக்கு கேட்டிருந்தாங்க. அவங்களுடைய அந்த தொடர் வலியுறுத்தல் காரணமாக தான் அதையும் ஏற்றுக்கிட்டாங்க. நான் ஒதுங்கி இருந்தால் தான் எல்லாம் ஒத்துமையாகுங்க. அதனால் நான் இந்த அம்மாவுடைய தொண்டர்கள்லாம் ஒத்துமையாகணுங்கிறதுக்காக அவங்க இந்த முடிவை எடுத்து அறிவிச்சிருக்காங்க.
Sasikala's dramatic exit stands to benefit the AIADMK and BJP most, with no vote cutter factor and definitely no leadership crisis now. But is this a result of the BJP's meddling? Did the Bharatiya Janata Party push Chinnamma to this decision?
Obviously, there's been pressure on her to issue this statement, especially after just about 2 weeks ago, she came to such a huge welcome and she's been making all kinds of signals that she's going to be active in politics. And now suddenly she takes this decision. So obviously pressure has been exerted on her, and the pressure could have only been exerted by the BJP to ensure that the ADMK front does not have a split in its vote bank. That's all. So I think it's only a temporary pause.
The BJP, however, has claimed they have no role in whatsoever in Sasikala's decision.
We are not to push anything. Sasikala, she is very matured senior politician. She was working with Amma many years. She took a decision, interest of the ADMK, interest of the Tamil Nadu.
Her decision to step aside from politics for the greater good is the biggest shocker of the year. But this decision of hers, is it final or subject to change, is the million-dollar question. With camera person Divyan, Pramod Madhav for India Today.
With that, it's a wrap on this edition of news. Stay with me. Up next is To The Point. Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.